with the casting versus LFY. Our panel just went all in on SG apparently.
It's a pretty nice anti-mage game.
Who's got a Magnus? I mean, apparently SG have learned from their mistakes of the previous series, which was when they third pick Magnus, make sure to fourth pick Animage so it doesn't get banned.
That was a sick AM game too. It was against a Storm.
Yeah.
But
and then it ended up being fifth ban, and it did not turn into an Animage game.
I'm not sure if they could have countered it anyways at that point. Like AM Mag at that point would have been really strong. The Storm ended up doing a lot of work. Like you can still last ban Bloodseeker if you're really worried about it. Or you're Liquid and you just pick it anyways.
So you're with the SG too?
I think LFY is the better team, but I don't know if it's by enough to offset the fact that they have to play clock against AM.
Okay, let me ask you this. Why, like, sure, it may be a good AM game. But why can't the game just be kind of over before AM comes online?
Because I think they can hold. I think they've got enough outspam, and I'm not sure if LFY have enough catch for the mobility on this side of SG.
Okay, give me details. What, you like Queen of Pain? You like Wyvern? Like, what are the heroes on SG that you like because they're able to stall up the game?
I'll tell you like the two ways that I can see both teams winning.
Okay.
Or like the ways that I see both teams winning. It's like if LFI wins, they need to absolutely snowball.
Yeah.
They need to just like wreck the lanes. They need to take this anti-mage's tower. They need to take the mid tower early on. Like they need to take the two towers early on, the mid one and the enemy safe lane.
Yeah.
And once they do that, then they need to get aggressive ward vision down, and they just have to like hit hard and fast. They can't like, they have to bait SG into fights where SG come back and try to take a 5-on-5 fight. But I think on the other side of things, if SG largely avoids fights and what they do is they just shove the waves in with the heroes that they have, because they've got a Winter Wyvern who is one of the best heroes in the game and pushing out waves, because you can Arctic Burn away, you have Splinter Blast, which is an incredible spell right now. Like his entire toolkit is really good. I think they picked the AA after the Wyvern, and yes, it's good against the Cold Embrace, but it's not that great against holding out waves. LFY, they don't have the best heroes at getting catch either. It's not like if SG splits push, like who's going to kill anti-mage and Quap, right? Like who's going to go back for that? They have to devote a lot of resources to killing those two heroes.
They need to get like a Shadowblade Dragon Knight or something, and even that stuff.
Yeah, you need like a Blink DK with an AA ult on top of that, and then like one more thing. It's not easy, and it's too much of an investment to go back every single time to stop somebody from split pushing.
What do you think about LFY's investment of this Clockwork into the off lane and the Zanking as the support here? So I just simply want to say, like, Clockwork doesn't really have the best catch here. He's got Quap, he's got AM, even Magnus can like skewer out of the cogs, even if he does end up skewering the clock with him, at least he can get out of the cogs itself.
Yeah.
So this is not like, he's not going to be the hero that addresses the split push problem that you're posing.
Yeah, and it's like Clockwork is really nice catch when you have heroes that don't naturally build force or that have a hard time against him in the laning phase, like if he has kill potential. But against heroes like AM, he has neither of those things. Like Anti-Mage is not worried about this matchup whatsoever.
Right.
He can trade with this Clockwork without any issues. Clockwork doesn't really bully him or harass him very hard. There's like 0 kill potential for Clockwork.
So if you were the captain of LFY, would you have switched those two roles? Would you have put Zanking as an offlaner?
Because it doesn't... I'm not sure if that makes it any easier, but maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential for that lane to be abused, but I think if you move Sand King to the 3 and you have Clockwork 4, maybe you have more success. But it's also dependent on like your hero playstyles and like who's playing what. But I think the DK is not a bad pick because you needed a hero that could take these towers early.
Yeah.
And it's not just about taking these towers early. Like that sounds very basic, right? Saying like, oh, of course you need a pushing lineup against an anti-mage. But it's mainly because DK without really health, like he just hits level 6 and he can just hit the tower. And he can outspam Queen of Pain. He's like one of the few mid heroes that can stand against Queen of Pain and doesn't mind the harass too much. But the pressure is on LFY, like because anti-mage versus gyro, you're not really feeling great as a gyro player.
They're the team who has to definitely play a little bit better, and right now they're trying to contest as Magnus Lardar. It looks like this is going to be our first blood pretty easily too. Theo, I'm not sure what he was thinking about that, trying to contest the gyrocopter like that, pursuing so deep, but he definitely ends up getting turned around on. First blood going to LFY. An easy start to this Gyrocopter Ancient Apparition lane.
Yeah, and you see more and more gyros opt to skip that rocket barrage at level 1. I think when I asked about it, both the gyro players I talked to said it just feels really bad, rocket barrage level 1.
Yeah.
Like, it feels next to garbage.
And homing missile feels so good.
Yeah.
Right? So, and it's not like you're not going to go a 4-4-0 build.
Yes.
Right? You still got to max out Flat Cannon because that's your farming tool, especially when it comes to ancient stacks. So, you get basically you have the choice. One or the other is your early game ability. It's either going to be rocket barrage or homing missile, and it seems like homing missile definitely is the preference most carries.
Slightly the favorite choice.
Oh, there was one Chinese carry recently, rocket barrage over homing missile. But
I forgot that Inflame had the sunken relic thing. We ran into him in a pub.
we did.
Yeah.
Disaster. No,
Really?
did we?
We won that one. Relax,
we
dude.
won that game.
That was when
we lost a lot of Dota games recently, but we won that one.
the Kaya Storm, man, when it was broken.
Yep.
But, I mean, LFY, things are going kind of okay, but laning ways, if you just, like, look at it, the Queen of Pain is doing fine. In fact,
Oh,
40R really impressed me, by the way, at this tournament.
Yeah. 40R, I mean, I think everyone kind of agrees that 40R is definitely the star player of SG, and it's not even that close. SG are going to have some problems here. Bardino in trouble is going to go for the Cold Embrace level 2, which is not something that you really want to have to do.
It's not feelable.
And Ahfu, damage done. TP's back to base, and we'll reset his roaming. We'll see where he heads to on his nighttime rotation.
Yeah. But not a really good feeling as a Winter Wyvern player. Oftentimes, by the way, in our cast guys, by the way, we'll say something like, it feels good or bad. And it's because, like, there's no real... Dota is, like, a huge spectrum in terms of, like, what can be correct or incorrect. Like, it's really hard to say what the best play is, but what you do know as, like, a Dota player is how something feels, right? Like, if you skill Cold Embrace there, you feel pretty bad because you're thinking to yourself, I can't push out the waves anymore. My harass ability is kind of gone. Now he knows that I have Cold Embrace level 2, which doesn't really do too much.
As an offensive, like as a Winter Wyvern, when you hit level 3, it's a huge peak for your offensive ganking power, right? You get level 2 Splinter Blast, which is huge damage. You also have this big time slow coming out, 180 damage nuke, right? That's gigantic, especially with the range that it gets. You get the double slow off both your Q and your Splinter Blast, Arctic Burn and Splinter Blast. And that's so much ganking power, and you just gave that up because you had to save yourself with Cold Embrace. Yeah,
it feels pretty garbage, but it's okay, because at the flip side of things, if you just check out, the anti-mage has been getting absolute free farm right now.
He tried to pick up that CS, and he does manage to get it. As long as he survives here, it'll all be good. Stun comes in. Nice stun from Theo. Managed to get the 2-man, and Ahfu's completely out of mana, so they're going to be able to pick up that 1 kill. Managing the cogs of Bardino inside as he comes down from that strike, but he does have the Cold Embrace buying him a little bit of time. Inflame still able to get that 1 kill, though. Theo's looking to be able to chase him down, though. Does manage to get another stun. Trying to burn out a little bit of extra mana. Are they going to chase him all the way here? Thiolicor does have another stun coming up, but with no mana left on Inflame, the enemy just doesn't really do any damage. Plus the phase boots would allow him to have that movement speed advantage. Costabile turns onto Costabile, but Ahfu not sure what that burrow strike was, but it completely missed. So
maybe if he hits that, but even then it's a little bit optimistic.
Yeah.
The anti-mage about to have Blink up again. Didn't really burn enough mana for that, but decent-ish trade. SG, I think they're pretty happy with that in any case, just because their anti-mage, you know, he picks up some XP, gets some gold, and he's the true reason they're gonna win or lose.
All right, 40R is not level 6. They can't go for the fast blast onto DDC. In fact, 40R's gotta run himself out of here and maybe turn around with a blink. With Soup getting kind of low, 40R's going to go for it. He does manage to hit his level 6 off of that creep wave and gets the kill on the Dragon Knight. A very important one, especially since he just popped his ultimate. No chance to get a free push on the tower here.
And you notice that SG has identified that as well, that this mid tower is such a big importance, as well as this enemy safe lane tower. Like, they understand that these are the 2 towers that they need to take this game to put pressure, because if you imagine it, if you're looking at Dota like from a perspective of how to protect your jungle, right? You lose those 2 towers, you essentially just get sandwiched, and it's so large. It's such a large landmass that you have to cover. It's impossible to ward everywhere. So when you lose those 2 towers, you lose the ability to defend those towers safely and evenly. And so it limits the amount of space that the anti-mage can get in farm. But by And Chessie just trades out sentries.
All right, take a bite of that sentry, and apparently he doesn't have another one. So, way to save your sentry there, Theo.
Yeah. Good work. And by doing that, it makes a lot more pressure on LFY, especially with the first Dragon form. That's why you saw LFY heroes run in, but SG, their heroes are a little bit better at rotating. The nuke damage, of course.
Yeah, that big burst pure damage on the Dragonite, who's supposed to be so tanky, especially so armored up, that the pure damage kind of cuts him straight to the core.
Yeah.
Now, the other way, normally we talk about this and we always invade into the enemy jungle, like take that safe lane jungle away. Hold up. Jesus, look at that Queen of Pain. What happened? You just got destroyed. LFY are going to be able to catch Theo here with the sprint on. Now he gets a cold embrace. Conks is going to fade away, and our Clockwork is going to have to run himself out of this one. But on hot pursuit, it's the rest of LFY trying to chase down the Winter Wyvern. SG's going to leave him behind. They do manage to get the skewer back, and they'll finish up. Clockwork now turn to help out Bardino, who's now sandwiched between Super. The Dragonite is going to come in, slowed down by the Caustic Finale. They are able to get that kill, not wanting to fight into the Dragonite. SG will abandon this fight. Let's see if they can save their tower, though.
Yeah, they need somebody here right now at all times. And they've done a really good job of identifying that. They've kept this mid tower pretty healthy. They've rotated heroes over when they can, just to kind of make it as annoying as possible. But Theo getting pretty low, but he really wanted to try to pull the creep wave over, even pops the sprint, but taking a little bit too much damage. The Queen of Pain is going to respawn, though, in second.
This should really tell you, right? This kind of emphasizes the point that you're trying to make. The fact that Theo is trying to pull the creep wave off of the tower at like 150 HP really shows how much he values this tower's HP and how he doesn't want it to take any of that chip damage.
Yeah, it's really important to their play because it's all about this anti-mage game. Like it's a ticking time bomb at all times.
Is it just me, or is it, like, I always feel like SG look a lot better when they're playing these kind of ticking time bomb lineups, like the way they played the Underlord and the Arc Warden lineups. They just looked a lot better than whenever they are the aggressors.
I think it's largely because when you're
trying to jump on him and here, he's so fast. He does manage to get the homing missile, turn around onto Theo, who has to sprint himself ahead of Ahfu, but he's going to get by this eventually. Ahfu's going to be able to follow the Burrow Strike, and they've got the Gyro ult to be able to lay down. Call down covers the area, and SG are not able to complete that fight. Oh! God, dodge the engage. He does not have a blink. What a great pickup there from Inflame. They managed to kill the ward, but it's a bit too little, too late. LFY pick up a big-time kill on the AM. All right, as the 10-minute marker comes in.
And that's pretty massive. On top of that, if Super gets a setup somehow mid, they're going to grab this tower, and they're kind of right back on track. But significant pickup for them early on as Super, he's waiting. He really wants somebody to rotate in.
Yeah, he's still got plenty of time on this Invis rune, too. Combined with the fact that his ultimate is going to be coming up. Now, it looks like there was a sentry right here in the river. And actually does spot out that observer ward. They just need to be able to put a hero over there. It looks like he's going to head up to top lane, though, see if he can maybe get a successful gank and turn that into a safe lane tower kill.
Yeah, really surprised that this anti-mage was able to die early on. But not much changes just because they need to grab a kill on him. Doesn't get that
misstun. Yeah. Not that it would have been a kill, but it would have been nice harassment. Force the AM out.
It was a good rotation overall. I'm not sure.
You think that rotation is better than trying to go for the mid tower?
I think if his team wasn't there, his team took a little bit too long to get there.
Yeah.
I think if Super had backup, you don't even have to kill the Quap at that point. You just you have to make it so that she can't fight you back. But you are going to get a free tier 1 tower out of this, and it's a big one. We talked about the importance of it for the jungle area. And that's why you notice SG, they immediately start pushing in this mid tower, because they want to put pressure away from their tower when the catapult's up. Like, it's very important that somebody's there to force things the other way. Otherwise, they're going to lose that tower for free.
Now, why aren't they putting pressure on the Radiant safe lane and basically mirror what LFY has done?
They tried, though. If you recall, when they went for that dive at bottom, but everyone was too fast.
And just proven to be too strong.
Like, he's a little bit too tanky right now for them to burst out. And I'm not sure they necessarily have to. I think they're better served just shoving in the waves and being patient.
Yeah.
Like, setting up kills for them is not as large of a deal because their offlane player, he's not a Clockwork. He's not a killer, and that's what Clockwork is. He's a hero that just runs around getting kills. Magnus is a hero that is an empower bot, essentially.
So is this why, like most gyrocopters we see moving by 12 minutes out of their lane, usually by 10 minutes, they're out of the lane going somewhere trying to get some kills. Is this why Monet's chilling out in this safe lane so much? Is that he knows SG want to be able to take his tower and he's just going to stand tall here?
He technically did move as Clockwork goes in. But so this is the downside we were talking about Clockwork, is when you play Clockwork and you can't kill any of the cores, they all have escapes. This is what it looks like. You're just hooking and hoping that they make a mistake.
Yeah, because you're not an offlaner that scales at all, right? So
you scale off kills.
You gotta get kills.
Yeah, you scale off kills.
Yeah.
Because you don't flash farm. Magnus has cleave, he has the ability to shockwave.
And he has a big team fight ability. It's always valued. Late game, nice kill in mid lane, and that's going to be another tower LFY is going to be able to take off of Super's Dragon Knight ult.
Super is such a good DK player, and they're going to rotate the Magnus, but DK takes this mid tower like no other mid player does.
And looks like he even wants to get some chip damage onto that tier 2. The poison that he brings. Now SG are going to try and catch him if he does move forward here. Super is going to exercise a bit of caution. Inflame's going to go in deep, though, straight into the Shrine area. Ends up running into Theo and Costabile. But we'll get out. Shrine pop, though. The Pulse is kind of caught here. The Winter Surge does go down. Super's going to deal a lot of damage to the Clockwork. And they managed to get the RP in, but Costabile just didn't do a whole lot of damage with that ultimate. And Clockwork ends up surviving. Martino's going to be caught as well. That's going to be 2 down from SG. And our Quap is just a little bit too late to find any of these kills. Tried to search for Inflame, but he actually wisely headed over to the mid lane. Looks like they might be able to get a quick kill here on DDC as well as Inflame with the ultimate hitting on the 2 of them. 40R does manage to pick up the double kill. So nice turnaround there for SG. But it's not going to save their tier 1 tower. Looks like another one is going to be dropping soon. Maybe not yet. The damage is already done, and it'll surely drop soon.
They've done a very good job of putting that pressure on. And it makes it difficult for the anti-mage to farm as a result, because the anti-mage heavily relies on not just the Battle Fury timing, but getting his Manta right after that. And against this kind of lineup, if you 5-man heavy enough, even the Manta might not be enough. You might need a BKB, something to just keep you alive against all this crowd control.
Is this the pace that is expected from LFY? Do you think that, like, above average, below average, or average, right? Is
above
LFY,
average.
they're performing above average right now when it comes to objective taping. Why is that?
Super has been an absolute monster in these rotations. Like, the first Dragon Knight form is very good of SG, but the second and third one, the subsequent ones, he's done a very good job of leading his team around. And that's something that heavily relies on the mid lane, being able to call. Because these movements are largely independent. You have to just be able to read those. And that's why they value his DK even when it's not necessarily a meta hero, because Super understands the hero so well. Like, he understands, I need to move here because I'm playing against this.
So
like,
he's just like thinking about map rotations. He's knowing where the heroes are that can stop them and where they're not.
That's why like these big cooldown ultimates that heavily rely on pushing, these Death Prophets, these Dragon Knights are the heroes that Super excels on. Because he understands, like, this is a big cooldown, I need to make this count, where do I go?
SG in the meantime, what can they be doing a little bit better
Delay,
to stop LFY?
Push out the waves as much as you can with these heroes. You notice that the top wave is already being pushed in, which forces the AA in.
I've been watching them hit neutrals quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's kind of like one thing that stood out to me, is that they haven't been pushing out waves as much as they could have.
Yeah. Somebody needs to take the risk and shove out top. But Super's very smartly gone for this Blink Dagger, and so he's got a lot of kill potential.
Yeah.
And I think the timings are a little bit faster than SG expect. Like, this Dragon Knight is stronger than they anticipated, and so...
This is a successful dire scan onto Inflame. They know he's here, and they're going to go for this kill. See if they can get it real quickly. Hookshot is blazing, and the Cogs pushback. Winter's Curse goes down. Oh, no. A complete whip there. 40R ends up throwing it onto the Invincible Clockwork. They still get that kill, but now they may not have the damage anymore.
Nice RP.
comes in, though. Do they have the AoE to be able to finish this off? Super so tanky, but with the amplified damage, the right clicks, maybe they can get a little bit of extra magic damage, and 40R does it. Bardino goes down from Monet, but Monet, he does have the backup of Ahfu, able to come in and get the anti-mage just in time with a Burrow Strike Epicenter. LFY, they do walk away with 3 big kills. Most notably, that last one was huge. Ahfu basically single-handedly taking out the AM in that fight, making it a win overall for LFY.
Yeah, and some spells, we're going to see the replay here. The stun comes in, they run into the Clockwork. He starts to get really low. Very nice Winter's Curse. It does force the death, but at the same time, a lot of spells do miss as a result of the Queen of Pain expended.
Can't help but thinking if 40R hadn't thrown that Sonic Wave and used it on the RP right there.
Uses it in there, everyone dies. Yeah. And they don't have to commit so hard positioning-wise, because this anti-mage now comes back in, And it's just an awkward fight for them.
What an unfortunate time for him to come back into right as SK is finished channeling in his epicenter.
He's like,
and goes in for the burrow strike.
He probably just wanted to like.
Yeah, he wanted to go for a Quap. Ends up finding something else. They do manage to get the Orchid on Clockwork here, slowing him down. They're going to try and go for that kill, and maybe Ahfu as well. He does have a burrow strike plus a blink coming up. Burrow in, blink away. See if he's far enough out though. They're still going to be able to catch him. It looks like, look at Theo just run so fast in the river.
All right.
This guy's out of control. Super is going to be able to catch him with a stun, though. Cold Embrace buys him some time. Maybe he'll be good. DDC is going to go for the stun on top of that. What? He runs out so quickly. Monet, he's also there. Super did manage to finish him up with the one last auto attack. 14-9. A 4,000 gold lead right now by LFY. But SG are beginning to contest LFY a little bit better. Winning, or at least trading, in some of these fights. And it is buying AM the time he desperately needs.
Yeah, and that core matchup is always going to be beneficial for this anti-mage. Like, he's always going to feel as though he can fight the gyrocopter when it comes to the 6-on-6 block.
This is only step one of the process, right? Taking some of these outer towers. Step two is got to be like, you know, taking Roshan. Step three is going high ground, which is going to be really difficult against a Magnus in particular, who has that both the RP and the skewer, team fight ability and some sort of displacement ability to be able to pull enemy heroes onto a dangerous high ground area. That's going to be one of the harder steps to take. So LFY, they are not free and clear by any means of the imagination.
Yeah, and the big thing too is like this anti-mage, he comes in like tiers. It's the first one is the Battle Fury. Once he gets the Battle Fury, then you're on a different kind of clock. Because then you're on the clock for when he gets
smoke pops. Monet is fast enough to be able to get away in SG. Not sure if they want to take this fight. Bardino's going to slow down some heroes. Here comes the Ice Blast. Oh, man, it's just a stun. Great nice jump in. But a Cold Brace cutting it in. The max damage is just enough to be able to finish him off. He gets the Orchid onto the Sand King, preventing his ultimate. Another miss. The Sonic Wave 40R. Oh, no, he's going to get burrow struck out with the Clockwork Battery Assault. Thiolicor is going to be caught as well. Super is on point right now with these blinks. Managed to lock down the AM to start the fight and managed to catch the Slaughter to end the fight as well.
And there was just a little bit of hesitation there from SG. They weren't really sure their smoke breaks. Like, do we engage here? And they just decided a little bit too late. It was one of those like freeze frame moments, I think, where LFI weren't really anticipating it either. Yeah. And SG wasn't expecting to find them.
Oh no, now they've caught the Magnus. I set this all up to say Magnus is the high ground defender, but with his team gone and him being picked off, LFY are going to take the tier 3 and probably the full laner frags. Right as the 20-minute marker comes in, this game just got so bad for SG.
Yeah, and they weren't able to use these heroes that spam out very well to their advantage. I mean, now comes the Winter Wyvern, but nobody seems to really care. Everyone's quite strong on the side of LFY. Everyone has raindrops, and we see right here. So they run into each other. They're not really sure, and they're like hemming and hawing, but this moment's hesitation just costs way too much. At this point, if they had just gotten out, they back up, that's fine. It's a wasted smoke. But look at the bottom wave. If the anti-mage just goes down there, shoves it in, the top wave, the Queen of Pancakes, then it's very hard for LFY to simply just go down mid. You can't force Dota like that. But instead, they go for the smoke. They were hoping to maybe just run into 1 or 2 people, reset things a little.
Barely managed to get an Ancient Apparition kill right before Ahfu comes in.
Yeah, still a good amount of gold. I mean, it's 10K. That was a very free...
It's an AA worth 435 gold. That's concerning if you're SG.
Still, SG, they're going to get a BKB on the Queen of Pain. The same thing exists. It's just become more difficult now to do because now you pretty much have to worry about this mid wave. And any sort of trade benefits the side of LFY now. Before in the past, it's like, if you 5-man and they split you, they could potentially pressure 2 sides. But now that you always have this mid wave shoving in, it makes it more difficult.
I feel like, in a way, the clock that we're talking about when we're talking about AM, like, oh, okay, you gotta do something about this game. Whenever you take a big objective, like, say, in this case, the lane of Rags, I always feel like the clock resets. Or at least it dials back a little bit. Yeah, and you now have a lot more time to be able to kind of work with if you're LFY. Like, now there's no need of like, oh, guys, we gotta finish up this game real quick. You've already taken 1 lane of Rags. Yeah. You take 2, and it's pretty much like single-minded game from there.
Normally, the downside of like taking Roshan against the lineup with it just affords like even more time where you get split push. And as soon as you take Roshan, you have to shove out the lane that the anti-mage shoved in. But when you take this mid Rax, when you skip the order of operations, when you go from having to take Roshan into going for this like YOLO high ground, and now you've already taken this Rax, and now you can go for this Rosh. It makes things a lot easier.
Nice job.
They've got blinks though.
Where's Ahfu going? Maybe cut Theo off somehow with a blink, but gives up on that chase pretty quick. Monet with his haste rune thinks he can catch somebody.
Man, Spirit Vessel's incredible. Like,
Yeah,
the amount
it
of
really
heal that
is.
he took away, that was a lot of damage on the Slardar.
Going to be particularly good against the Wyvern. They've got Ice Blast and Spirit Vessel.
Here we go. Very nice trap.
Big kill. SG set that one up. Have to blow the RP for it, and Super is still living a decent amount of time here.
Surely they're going to be able to get the kill though with a blink forward. And one final finish off from 40R. They can get a catch anything else though. 40R is going to be chased down here by the homing missile. Inflame looking to be able to catch up. Hook shot up, not for another 7 seconds. But Theo does have to run interference here for the Queen of Pain. See if he can get the blink dagger off. Does get it off. Inflame. Gets the hook shot. Nice shot. Managed to see, I think he saw the homing missile and kind of where it was going. It was
He had
just
a ward
like,
too.
it's going in a straight. Oh, he's got a ward. Well, that makes it all easy.
He had a ward right there. I'm sorry to burst that bubble. You saw it the entire time, man.
So pretty much no hope for our
If you
Queen of
miss a
Pain.
hook on a standing still target, you didn't really have to.
Inflame, what a god.
You thought he was doing some like
Hits the hook on a
complicated.
standstill target under ward vision.
That was not that difficult. I love pro plays as much as possible, but
I'm imagining in my head, like, you know, that meme, the trajectory
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
the math, and like the homing missiles going in this direction, the hook shot angle. No, it's just a ward.
he saw him the entire time. It was impossible to miss.
Oh man, LFY. They really kicked things up a notch. They have 24 minutes in, 8,000 gold lead, 1 lane of racks. They've got Aegis still. And SG are just pretty much terrified of any heroes. As you can see, Inflame shows himself, managed to get a hook shot. Lands on it too. Theo's going to be caught inside the cogs here. He's going to go for this kill with the Ice Blast. But looks like he might be able to, though. He went in Fizz, and now it's going to be saved by the Cold Embrace. Bardino trying to get out, but it's going to be Battery Assault to finish him off. Plus the Ice Blast and the damage over time does manage to finish off that Slardar. So they catch those two supports and are able to focus on just taking that top tower, push for the high ground.
Even with all the objectives out of the way and the Roshan and the rack, the anti-mage has closed the gap between him and the DK, but as a result of all those things, this Gyrocopter Monet has had so much farm. He also went in and stole a lot of the ancient stats that were created for the anti-mage, and you can do that when you invade so many of those towers. Look how far he is. He's got a butterfly.
Yeah, this is
Like, I don't know.
very early butterfly.
At 25 minutes in, this is an absurd amount. Remember, this guy doesn't have something like that cleave or the empower. All he has is his cooldown flag, but he's still doing it.
Isn't that equivalent of range cleave, though?
It pretty much is. Okay.
Oh, instant stun from Super. He saw that one coming, managed to throw
This
on the
is
stun
absurd.
before the Slardar blinked in, resulting in an instant stun. It's going to catch Liposa as well. Ice Blast comes in, not even needed. Looks like he's just going to go for Bardino. Catch him with the call down. Pretty easy, godlike, triple kill. Monet is just showing off at this point. Exert his presence over SG. And the control they
Even
have
catches
over the
him with the
base.
stun.
Queen of Pain, going to be bumped back by the Cogs. Pop the BKB just in time. Goes for the blink kill onto the Sand King. Just anything to make his score a little bit better, honestly, before this game does end. 40R is going to run out of his BKB, so the homing missile is going to be able to block him down.
Ding.
Ahfu will follow that up.
And another kill, and SG, they lose their entire team. The anti-mage does survive, which thought it'd be difficult to kill him, but it doesn't matter when you see your comrades strewn across the battlefield as another 4 heroes go down. That's now a 15k gold lead on the side of LFY, starting to enter a territory where it doesn't really matter if you have the better heroes count.
He'll fake back and re-entry with the smoke. Goes for the anti-mage with the Ice Blast and all their magic damage. Nice use of the Cogs again from Inflame. And to get the control on the AM. Free pickoff, 1 minute on the clock. Enough time easily for LFY to take that tier 2 and force one final fight at the bottom high ground.
Yeah. So LFI, Inflame is like hitting this shrine, but it doesn't seem like anybody else wants to deal with it.
Just the only one, apparently.
Go you, man. Take the shrine.
Believe in yourself, Inflame.
It's like,
I'm pretty sure by the time he finishes
pinging
this
him.
shrine, Gyrocopter can take the full
oh,
lane of
this has
racks
got to
at
be
bottom.
like, this has got to be like the Chinese version of memeing. Like they're pinging him and he's just continuing to hit it. Nobody's helping him hit it. There you go. And Monet comes in and last hits it.
All because he just wanted to farm some neutral.
They're definitely...
Oh my god, he's got a Scotty.
Yeah, they're definitely messing around right now.
There's no way this AM... Like, you get to a point...
There's a limit, yeah.
Yeah, where the AM just doesn't become a carry against Gyrocopter.
When you outfarm him by this degree, it's a bit much.
Jump in, stun. And the follow-up Ice Blast is going to land pretty squarely onto these heroes, but 40R does have that BKB. Nice RP to follow up, and they have the AoE to be able to flinch off these heroes. There's just no real damage coming out from the AM ulti, and without that, they just don't have a damage to kill anybody on the side of LFY. SG almost get wiped. It's the Liposa who's trying to get out of here alive. And they call the GG as he escapes to the fountain. So, SG getting pretty well manhandled in game number 1, and you, as well as the panel, both sided